So me and Sanjit, we have struggled for 4 episodes.
Okay.
We sat here, we spoke, and we just could not get the first episode going.
Okay.
Predominantly because between us, we did not know who was the guest and who was the host. So we just started talking, and it would just tangent off to something else. One day we just went through our memory lane.
Wow.
How much we have struggled. His sob story, my sob story. We captured everything. And then it became a podcast of close to 2 hours.
Okay.
There was no content. There's absolutely no content. So thank you for doing this with us,
No,
Shubhankar.
no.
So Shubhankar, founder of Orion Analytics. It's a firm dedicated for empowering next generation change makers by bringing data-driven insights. And they work in the government space, corporates, and NGOs. Shubhankar, thank you really, really for doing this. You're our first guinea pig. Okay. So this is the first episode of a channel by name Business Giseness.
Okay.
Okay.
Wonderful.
Right. So it's like saying ere gere no to gere. Right? So it's like Business Giseness. And the idea is to present small business owners an opportunity to talk about their business. And I personally believe that small business owners are the underdog stories of the country.
Yeah.
Right? We provide simple employments to people.
Yeah.
Right? And then we upskill them.
Yeah.
And then make them contributors to the economy. In the larger picture, we are that. Right?
Yes.
If you see the MSME, it's what occupies about 60% of the employment space.
Yes.
So we are that.
Yes.
So the idea is to present this platform to people who are doing businesses, casual businesses. We're not talking about businesses which are, doing extremely well. You might be doing exceedingly well, but we are in the MSME space, so that's what we want to do. And pleasure having you here. I've known you for about some time now, right? For about a year almost. Yeah. And one thing has always stood out for me is your demeanor. How are you so calm? Is it because you are an engineer? Engineer turned policy maker? Is that
all the pain that you go through in engineering? So that kind of comes.
And that's even opposite. There's some notoriety to it, right? You're locked in the campus from 9 to 6.
With ID cards.
Yeah, with ID cards. 6.
But jokes aside, great education that came from PESIT, great exposure. And of course, like you learn things on the way. So managing your demeanor and temper is also a thing that you pick up.
So, excellent. Talk us through your journey in the post-graduation that you hold. It's a Master in Public Policy Making. What is this course all about?
Yeah.
And it's from National Law School. Obviously, it's very prestigious.
Yeah.
So walk us through, what is this course all about?
Yeah. So first and foremost, MPP from NLS, that also happened accidentally for me.
Okay.
I was preparing for UPSC.
Okay.
And gave a few attempts, didn't get through.
Okay.
But that preparation helped me get into NLS. So the exam is extremely competitive. You have to write a national level.
If looks could get you into UPSC, right? I would vouch for you, by the way. I would vouch for you. Got that, demeanor about yourself. Like, I can see you walking into the chamber and then, I know that you are IAS. Sorry.
Oh, I wish that was true.
One of the criteria, like you have to look like IAS.
Yeah. But yeah, so did MPP from NLS, wrote the entrance, got through. So the course mostly has 3 core components to it.
Okay.
So the first pillar mostly deals with legal education. So the law of the land. The second pillar mostly deals with economics and society. So we learn micro, macro, and other social sciences. And there is also a huge amount of statistics that is taught. So a lot of math also comes into picture. And the third pillar is research.
Nice.
So where you kind of learn principles of research. So quantitative, qualitative. That's mostly what the course does. Apart from that, it also has a lot of field immersion, and you also kind of do like a thesis where you finally do your own research and come out with a thesis. So it's an interesting course.
Awesome. Let's talk a little bit about Forion Analytics.
Yes.
Okay. And its origins, how did it start, and the purpose and the core values. Just take us through the Forion journey.
So before we start off with Forion, I'll have to give you a little bit of my journey. So post NLS, I've had the privilege of working with multiple governments. North Delhi, I worked with UP, Delhi for a bit. Then I worked with the Karnataka government, Andhra, Telangana. So in all of these tenures of mine, I had hands-on experience with respect to policy making, research, and also consulting.
Okay.
So these were the three areas that I kind of worked in. I wanted to build a firm where we can sort of focus on these three areas, which was very Indian in the way it operates, connected to the ground realities of what our country, our state, our people are facing. So that is why Forion was kind of born. So what happens is Ivaga, the big four, they mostly do what we do. But then the way they operate, they're trying to infuse the
Big Four, sorry.
So Big Four, EY, PwC, Deloitte, KPMG. So these are the big four. So the big four consulting firms.
Okay.
They mostly do what we do, but their values and processes and their learnings are based out of the West. So they try and infuse those values into what they do in India as well. We want to reverse the cycle. So that's the whole idea.
When you say what you just said, that they try to bring in the Western idea of impact assessment, right? Does the parameter, according to you, should change? Should it change for the Indian market?
So I will give you an example. Let us say in the American context, it's more of a capitalistic society.
Right.
So your measure of impact is more material driven in that sense. Applying the same lens to the Indian context might not really mean impact. So somebody, for example, there are different metrics that we use, different lenses that we apply. So Ivaga, in the Indian context, inclusive development might not mean the same as what it would mean in the West. Also, in terms of timelines, where the West is at and where we are at, they don't really overlap on all parameters. So just doing a copy paste might not really work. And these learnings come from actually operating at the ground. So that is why it's important to have that Indian lens in whatever you do.
Absolutely. So one of the most thing that every NGO aspires is getting access to CSR, right? The corporate social responsibility. Can you just talk in a very layman way, in a very laymanish terms, what is CSR and how does it work, and how does a typical CSR get dispersed?
Okay, so like you said, most of the nonprofits kind of aspire for CSR funds simply because it is an institutional mode of funding. So if you kind of tap into one CSR, you'll be able to raise an amount that is equivalent to, let's say, what you would raise through 1,000 individual donations. So that is the quantum. I mean, just saying, of course, it can be larger also. So CSR stands, the abbreviation stands for Corporate Social Responsibility. In India, it is governed by the Companies Act. and the company's rules. So this is what the Indian government kind of formulated along by Indian legislature. So what CSR mandates is that profitable companies, if they make more than, let's say, 5 crores of profit in a year, then it is mandated by law that they should keep aside 2% of their profits for social social impact related work. So it's basically trying to mandate that they give back what they earn. So uh, that is one of the criteria. Apart from that, there are multiple other criteria as well. So if a company's net worth is more than 500 crores, then they also fall under the ambit of the CSR law. Or if they're doing over 1,000 crores in terms of turnover, then they also fall under the ambit of CSR. Now, the responsibility of, let's say, uh, the CSR compliance, it falls on the board of directors of the company, the for-profit company. So every year they have to do their compliance. They have to file their CSR returns with the MCA. MCA is Ministry of Corporate Affairs. So uh, how does it get dispersed? There are 3 modes. So one, the company can take up CSR related works and implement it themselves. So there's something called Schedule 7 in the Companies Act, which gives you a list of activities that can actually qualify as CSR compliant. So this relates to, let's say, eradication of poverty, education, sustainability, sports, art, all of this. Apart from that, if you are not able to spend, let's say, if the company cannot implement the CSR works themselves, then they can actually outsource it to a non-profit, a registered non-profit company.
Okay.
Again, they should have few compliances in terms of CSR one compliance. Then they should have ATG certification, all of that kind of. If they qualify, then the company can actually give them the money and they can implement works on behalf of the company. Now, if the company fails to do both of these, then they can also donate to the government, the PM Cares Fund, and then the state governments and the central governments, and then kind of uh, do with their compliance. So broadly, this is what CSR.
Shubhankar, talk us through international funding opportunities for NGOs. Right? What does it take for an NGO to get funds from abroad?
So first and foremost, for an NGO to actually be able to get funds from abroad, they should have the FCRA license. It's issued by the Ministry of Home Affairs, Government of India. Once that is done, there are different ways they can actually get funds. And there are international philanthropies. There are international donors who kind of give funds. Then there are multilateral agencies like the United Nations, World Bank. So they have their India wings as well. And then they have their, of course, global wings. Apart from that, there are other international development organizations that kind of give funds. Then there are family offices that kind of give funds. So yeah, there are multiple avenues to actually get funds from abroad.
But why is it so complicated for an NGO to get an FCRA license?
So FCRA has a long history. So this was actually brought into effect during the UPA government initially. So, but it has been strengthened over time. So the whole idea is to ensure that the sovereignty of our nation is not really threatened through international funding. So one of the reasons, at least the FCRA was brought about, was because they wanted to control terror funding. So that was one of the main things. Apart from that, so there are certain people who cannot take foreign funds. Let's say judges, government servants, retired judges, retired government servants. political parties, these people don't qualify to receive foreign funds, because then our nation and national interests are compromised or can be compromised. But if these people who are in places of power actually get compromised. So that is the reason why FCRA is important.
Yeah.
And the government has um, a checklist of things, like, for example, a separate account needs to be maintained in which your foreign funds are deposited, used. That, so like, there needs to be very clear auditing protocols and procedures followed. All of this needs to be taken care of, and the activities that you're actually doing shouldn't really be against our national interest. So, for example, it is said, it is speculated that the US government tried to uh, destabilize our uh, nuclear efforts back when Vajpayee was the prime minister. So these are certain examples. They can use non-profits in India to actually um, raise their voice against developmental efforts of the country in itself. So that is the reason why FCRA is
complicated.
Yeah, it's very complicated.
Yeah, right.
A lot of uh, political angles to this as well, but at the core of it, it is required. So
take Sonam Wangchu for that matter.
Yeah. So I'm not very familiar with the issue, but FCRA licenses can be revoked. So
it's totally the prerogative of the government to say no.
Yeah, of course it is ultimately a license, right? So if the government, if things are not as per the rule of law, if the NGO is not operating as per the rule of law, then they can, of course, revoke the license.
Yeah. So have you seen this movie Shivaji?
Yeah.
By any chance?
Yeah.
So
the
it's
boss.
actually Shivaji the boss. So that's actually a bunkum. That's not true.
I think so.
The way he basically goes to abroad through Hawala Road, gets the money back inside to his trust.
So FCRA was actually brought into effect in 2010.
Oh, okay.
I don't know when she was.
2007. 2006, 6. When was 7? Yeah.
7. So yeah, maybe possible.
Maybe possible. Okay, that's good. That's good. Glad to know Shankar had it in him to has this vision in him that there could be a way to get all the money back.
Yeah.
Great. So, Iga, let's get into what Forion does the best, which is impact studies. What is an impact study, and why is it important, not just for an NGO, even for a corporate for that matter, to have an impact study and an assessment done by somebody like Forion?
So first and foremost, if somebody is actually giving a non-profit some money, it could be CSR grant, it could be government grant, or it could be the non-profit in itself that has raised some funds and they're working on something. So the non-profits have certain objectives associated with each project. Now they're deploying capital also to actually work towards that objective. Now, these things, the objectives are always not, let's say, they're a little gray, right? You cannot achieve everything that you set out to achieve.
Correct.
So, just like how a corporate or a public sector enterprise decides its strategy based on the impact that has been achieved with respect to meeting its objectives, non-profits also do this. So now, getting into the nitty-gritties of, let's say, an impact assessment, there are different things that you check for. So there are quantitative metrics that you check for as part of your objectives. So are those things kind of met? Now, quantitative metrics actually help you analyze trends, especially in social sciences. Things are not exact. They indicate to a certain thing, but then you need context to make sense of what it actually is kind of indicating towards. In order to do this, you need qualitative metrics. So qualitative metrics actually give you context to what your quantitative metrics mean. So broadly, this is what an impact assessment is. So impact assessment tries to kind of measure the outcomes. So there is an element of quant involved, and then there's a qualitative element involved as well. There are different methods, different approaches, different technical procedures that you follow to kind of measure impact.
That would have been my next question. What are the tools? And you say quant and qualitative, right? How do you quantify?
Yeah. So I think it'll be easier for me to explain using an example. So let us say a kid, you're trying to measure the learning outcomes of a school-going kid. So let us say he is enrolled into a special program that a non-profit or a for-profit organization. For me, it'll be easier to kind of explain this using an example. So just to kind of touch upon the theory, we use a mixed methods approach that kind of uses qualitative and quantitative tools to achieve results. Now, before you kind of get into the tools, you need to design your research. So it's called research methodology that we kind of design. Let me give you an example to kind of break this down. Let's say a kid enrolls in a coaching class to improve the learning outcomes. Now, how do you actually measure if let us say the kid gives an exam 3 months down the line, and the kid's scores have actually increased by, let us say, 20%. Now, do you actually attribute this 20% increase to the learnings from the coaching classes? So a simple measure of the metric would actually say that yes, the kid went to the coaching classes, so that is why the learning metrics have improved. But then the kid is also going to school, no? So the kid could have learnt in school also. How do you know that exact? So what is the impact of the coaching classes? So in order to do this, we use something called a difference in differences approach. So it is a methodology. So what we'll do is we'll kind of keep all other things constant. So a kid going to the same school that has not enrolled in a coaching class, of course, you need to take everything else into consideration as well. The kind of family the kid comes from, the kind of exposure the kid has, all of these things, keeping them constant, then you'll be actually able to measure the metric or measure the improvement from the coaching classes. So when you subtract these two, then you'll actually know the impact that the coaching classes has had on the kid.
So the other thing that Forion excels in, because I've had some experience with you guys, is market research. What sets you apart?
So market research is something that has been in practice for ages now. So popular examples, all the FMCG brands, they fight day in and day out, and a lot of their moves are based on data. So even a 1 rupee change. The famous case study is this Cadbury example. So price is 10 rupees even today, right? So there's this concept called price elasticity in economics. So a 1 rupee change can actually influence the demand by a large margin. So market research actually helps you gather data based on consumer behaviors, right? So what are the consumption patterns? What do they do? All of these kinds of things. So we apply the same principles that we actually apply to impact studies when it comes to market research as well. We do data collection, we gather data, quantitative data, and then we apply the qualitative lens to this quantitative data to actually make better sense of the insights that are being generated. Using this insight, we help corporates actually design their strategy. So it can be marketing strategy. A lot of today, a lot of data and a lot of research is actually done to influence marketing decisions. So yeah, that is what we do, and that is how we are kind of different in the sense that we're
you come from the ideology of impact studies, and then you basically use the same metrics, juxtapose against a market research scenario, and then this gives you a better result because you're also thinking what this research could yield.
Correct. Exactly. So the thing is, we tie strategy to research. So mostly like the big market research firms also kind of um, comment on the insights, and it's left to the management to kind of come up with a strategy. Of course, they give recommendations. We also do that. It's just that the way we kind of analyze the data, it's different in the sense that we have quantitative and qualitative that goes hand in hand. A lot of market research firms, what they do is they mostly make sense of quantitative data without really trying to oppose it against the qualitative data.
Forion works across the landscape. So talk about governmental agencies, talk about not-for-profits, talk about non-governmental organizations, and even corporates for that matter, for-profit organizations. This is like very diverse.
Yeah.
How do you manage the expectation? Because to me, when somebody comes and approaches for an IT, the posture is completely different from each of these. How do you guys manage the expectations of this varied landscape?
So it depends on the project that we're kind of taking. So if we're working with a corporate entity, a for-profit organization, of course, their core value set is trying to maximize the profit that they generate for their investors. So that is their fiduciary responsibility. Now, if we kind of act in a sense that is antithetical to this whole understanding, then it doesn't work out. So we try to kind of stitch impact into this value set that they have. So profit should be a component, but then through the profit making actions that they're taking, they should also be able to generate impact. That is the whole idea. Now, the posturing and the stance would be different when it comes to, let's say, a non-profit. Their core value set is to maximize impact.
Correct.
So that is the stance that we'll take then. When it comes to governments, it is extremely complex because they don't have one, let's say, value set. But having said that,
they don't have any value set. Sorry.
No. They don't have one value set.
Okay.
But the whole idea or the understanding is to ensure that public interest takes priority over everything else, right? So to maximize public benefit. So there you look at utilitarian principles and apply some deontological concepts as well, all of that. But yeah, of course, it's not easy, but you kind of wear the hat and you keep changing it. So
what you're basically saying is the end goal is different.
Yeah.
But the process to it is pretty similar.
Yeah. In terms of process, in terms of the principles of analysis, that is uniform. Of course, slightly things change in the way you collect data, in the way you analyze all of that, but at least the core principles don't change.
Right.
But objectives and value set changes across whom you're working for. So, yeah.
Right. We have touched upon a fantastic subject of handling the garments. And I see that you have worked with like polarly different ideological governments.
Yeah.
How difficult is it to manage? Or I'm sure even though you're an agnostic and you say, I don't belong to one ideology, I'm here to make an impact study. But how difficult it is for you to approach governments with this sense of being, non-political, I don't know, I don't have a word for it, but staying true to what you guys are trying to do, right?
Yeah.
How difficult it is. You've worked with UP government, you've worked with Karnataka government. Yeah. Talk us through. Yeah.
So a couple of things here. First thing is impact studies and assessments. And then the second part is policy making and strategy, right? That goes into government operations. So consulting, let's say. Both are different. You have to bring in objectivity and value neutrality when you do impact assessments. So there is no room for political affiliation. It doesn't matter what the politician says. Numbers don't lie. So what you focus on is numbers when it comes to impact assessment. But when it comes to strategy and let's say policy making, there it is important to actually not be against what the political will of the land wants, right? Because then if you do that, your impact will completely go down to zero because things will not move. So the whole idea is to maximize impact, taking into considerations all the other challenges that are there. So there are times when politicians want certain things, right? Ultimately, they kind of do things which appeal to their electorate.
Correct.
So that is the whole idea. And then when they do certain things, of course, it has to be impact driven. It doesn't matter who your electorate is. At least that electorate still demands impact and development for themselves.
Correct.
So yeah, that is how it is. But you kind of try and maximize the impact, and you take political will into consideration, but you don't really fluctuate from the core principles that you have at hand. So it has to be evidence based. It has to be based on numbers. It has to be focused on development. It has to be inclusive, irrespective of what the politician says. But then you kind of explain things to him and take his blessing as well. So
yeah, that's a good one. Talk us through this wonderful case study that you have, reworking and innovating Karnataka's groundwater. For people who have not seen, please visit forionanalytics.com and take a look at this fantastic case study that is there. Talk us through, what is this?
So basically, the groundwater levels in Karnataka, they were depleting at a rapid pace. So for the groundwater table to actually get recharged, it takes years together, right? So our extraction rates were more rampant than the recharge rates. So as a result of this, there was depletion in the groundwater table. This is a severe cause of concern. So for example, let us say Bangalore itself, we are extracting a lot of groundwater because of these societies and apartments, all of these high rises that have come into place, right? So what happens when all of your groundwater is done is basically Bangalore will then become a barren land, right? So this was happening across areas in the state. So the problem statement was simple, right? How do we kind of fix this? So it's a very open-ended, large-scale problem statement. So there are different things that we try to address. So the first thing that we looked at was what are the reasons that is actually causing this, right? So there were some illegal extractions that were happening, illegal borewells that were being put in. Apart from that, there are certain other things like what are the ways. So the first thing that we look at is how do we kind of reduce the extraction rates, and then we look at how do we kind of recharge.
Okay.
So in order to reduce the extraction rate, regulation always has different modes of regulation. So one is command and control, where you kind of penalize. The other thing is where you kind of use incentives to actually help the look at recharge and stuff like that. So when it comes to command and control, we looked at the legislative provisions, and then we looked at what are some of the legislative things that we need to fix. So there were certain provisions which allowed for people to actually take up borewell projects within their land areas without actually being legally compliant, right? So even if they were taken to court by the department, they were not really being penalized or punished. So those were the things we were looking at. So we gave a few recommendations to actually amend the groundwater rules. So which kind of happened recently. So That was the first thing. The second thing is we were looking at global models that we could replicate in the state to actually increase the groundwater table. So this employed multiple things. Uh, it's a large case study. So I'll just focus on one element of it. So we were looking at what kind of technological interventions could we actually do to ensure that we can kind of take care of this. So m- we worked with this company called SatSure. It's quite big now. So they helped us design the digital water stack. So we were kind of looking at satellite technology and the databases that we have. They have their own algorithm which ingests all of this data and then throws actionable insights based on which real-time governance calls can be taken.
Nice.
So this helps you kind of analyze projects. So where should you actually place a check dam to maximize the groundwater collection and increase the groundwater table? Apart from that, encroachment in Bangalore is a real thing.
Correct.
That's happening across the state. So lakes are being encroached. All of this is happening. So we wanted to control that as well. And with the use of tech, we wanted to do this. Apart from this, of course, like real-time governance calls based on the extraction rates on a monthly basis, looking at trends, looking at things that we can control. Based on this, you can also actually instruct the bureaucracy at the local level to become more vigilant, stuff like that. So this is what we did. And that's the case study.
Awesome.
More complex, but I've kind of tried to
dumbed it down for us.
simplify.
No, fair enough. Because, yeah. So, what does the NGO landscape for the next 5 years look like, according to you?
So, in terms of spaces, right, certain things are extremely saturated. So, a lot of people are doing a lot of work in education. But there is still room for new entrants, right? So, or people to actually pivot from what they're doing. So, one of the key things that I've come across more recently is that skilling has been a big thing in the last 5 years, but now skilling is still not able to generate jobs for you. So, even the government of India, I was part of this roundtable where they were also kind of looking at a policy, the MSME ministry, to increase entrepreneurship in the country because jobs are not easy to come by anymore. And we have to kind of take care of our demographic dividend. So, how do you do this? We'll have to make it easier for entrepreneurs to actually uh, come, try, set up their businesses, fail, but still not really take a huge hit, right? So, in order to do this, skilling is a core component. So, you look at skilling in terms of entrepreneurship. So, stuff like principles of design thinking, innovation, these things are actually being imparted and taught. Once this is done, more hackathons, ideathons, all of these kind of things will become more prevalent. So ideas and other business ideas will actually be floated, evaluated, supported, and then they'll kind of be scaled using market linkages. So this is one thing with respect to education. Sustainability is a thing that we all know. Uh, Groundwater, water. So a lot of stuff has actually happened with respect to the green economy, right?
Right.
But blue economy is something that hasn't really been focused much on. So going forwards, I see a lot of nonprofits working on the blue space, right? So it can be oceans, it can be lakes, it can be groundwater, rainwater harvesting, these kinds of things. So that is another thing. Apart from that, inclusion, hunger, malnutrition, all of these things.
Right.
Early childhood development is also a thing that is kind of coming up. It's been there for some time now, but with the kind of world that we're living in, babies that are being born are born with a lot of issues,
Yeah.
and they're not really being raised in the way babies used to be raised before, because both the parents are kind of working. There's a lack of time for them to kind of give to the children. So I see a lot of non-profits coming up in this space as well. And lastly, again, early childhood and then old age homes and work that is being done for the older people, because familial ties are not as strong as they were before.
Right.
So that's also a thing that's kind of
absolutely
coming up. So yeah, this is what.
To paraphrase Mr. Ambrish, 1.5 ಗಂಟೆ ಮಾತಾಡ್ಬಿಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೀನಿ.
90 minutes.
90 minutes. And time is just flown past. Thank you, Shubhankar. Thanks for making this happen. We've called you on a Saturday. I don't know when this will air. If this will air, we've. I don't want to scare you, but this will air. This will air for sure. Sanjit will make sure that this will air.
So he's moved the ball to your court.
Yeah, no. He has told me that I am not to look at this video, and this is going live. So last three shoots that we have done has not gone live because of me. Because of me. First, the wardrobe was not good. Okay. Second, we both went and actually got ourselves a wardrobe suited for this place.
Oh, wow. Okay.
That did not fly because we started talking shit. So this is going live. So thank you, Shubhankar. Thank you so much.
It was an absolute
pleasure hosting you. And honestly, I personally got to know a lot. Okay, about Orion, about you, about the business in general. Hope to host you again.
Yeah.
Probably with a deeper purpose, deeper understanding.
Absolutely.
And good that we are also getting associated with this, with not-for-profit by name Pro Bono Stack, where the idea is to create an aggregator platform for NGOs get their technical solutions sorted.
Yeah.
If they want some websites done, some digital marketing, maybe some software CRMs that can be off the shelf put into place. We guys are working together, so that's something that we look forward to.
Absolutely.
So probably one podcast dedicated for Pro Bono
Stack. Yes.
Awesome. So that's it. That's a wrap. Take care. Bye.
Thanks. Bye guys.